Hey guys, Bump here, bringing you another Dragonflight Frost DK Mythic Plus video. Today we're taking a look at a plus 20 Academia run as a Frost DK with Obliteration build. And the reason we're looking at this is because I did 114k overall, which I think is quite respectable. The build I'm running is up here. It's kind of like similar to what I've been running in the past, but I'm picking up Frostwind's Fury. And that's specifically because this dungeon has really large pools and I'm running Puzzle Box, which essentially means that every 3 minutes I'm going to do a Puzzle Box Frostwind's Fury combination. And unfortunately, right, you wouldn't see it on my damage details here, but man, that first Frostwind's Fury, I think I hit nearly 1 million DPS with that one. It's really powerful. Anyway, this is Obliteration. I think if you're in an incredibly coordinated group where you can chain pull with your breath, right? Breath is better. But like 90% of the scenarios, I think this is going to be a good build. Either you pick this up or you do something similar, right? With maybe Chill Streak instead of Frostwind's Fury, that kind of vibe. Right, you can see me sending it off here. I think this Frostworm, it dealt, 500k crits when I look it up. So 20 targets, 500k on each. It's pretty juicy. You can see I draw aggro here. Anyway, so outside of build, when it comes to stats, you want to generally try to get a balance of crit mastery and haste. You will see I'm running a big amount of haste and mastery because I just run my normal unholy gear. If I had a choice, I would definitely pick up more crit. Which is one of the reasons I pick up crit at start, doesn't it, right? We can see here, max crit was around 460k there. Not bad, not bad. Anyway, for trinkets and such, I said, Puzzle Box really does fit quite well. Every 3 minutes, you get that huge Frostwind's Fury you can put down, do lots of damage in a big pool. It's great. Second trinket, I would run something like Hunger the Pack. Something that's ideally just passive damage. Maybe Icon from the raid, that kind of thing. I'm obviously running, what's it called? Grief Torch here, but that's because that's what I'm running with my unholy, so don't have much of a choice. Now, for the rotation, we talked about this in the past, but I'm still going to go over it. So how do you do it? So you can see my first pool there. The general kind of rotation I went for was that before I go into pool with Pillar, I use all my relevant cooldowns. This means popping my Puzzle Box, using my Abomination Limb, using my Empowering Weapon, right? And then do Remorse Winter, you do Pillar and your Howling Blast same time, right? I just press them very quickly after each other. Put down your Death and Decay, and then you do Obliterate Weaving. So if you have a Killing Machine proc, spend that on Obliterate. If you don't, generate one using either Howling Blast and Glacier Advance. And that's going to be a general vibe, right? Any pool is going to follow this kind of pattern where you can do setup before a Pillar Window, good Pillar Window, and then you do your Oblique Cleaving and take it from there. I feel like an important aspect to discuss here is the priority of Howling Blast versus Glacier Advance. Generally, you will use Glacier Advance a lot, and sometimes even as a higher priority than Howling Blast for the round proc, right? The scenario that you do that in is when you need to keep up your Unleashed Frenzy, right? Unfortunately, Unleashed Frenzy is still 6 seconds, so you need to keep that up quite a lot. So when you are in your Blit window and you see that your Unleashed Frenzy is going to go away, you're going to need to use your Glacier Advance to kind of keep it up. You can see here that I sometimes use Glacier Advance instead of Howling Blast. Essentially, if you do a normal weaving, where every second you use a skill machine, every second kind of generation needs to be Glacier Advance. Sometimes you get lots of procs from your force set, you need to alter that a little bit, but that's the general kind of vibe we're going for. Furthermore, if you're doing a really big pool, right, the idea is to use Glacier Advance above Howling Blast pretty much all the time as much as you can. You can see here I've set up myself for a big Frostwind's Fury. I'm at 170k, boom, 250. It deals a ton of damage, really. You might say that, a bit paddy, sure, but those ads need to die. and the initial pull will also need it to die quickly. So I do think it's a responsible DPS thing to do. All right, so I don't think there's too much to discuss after this point. We can talk about the second Death and Decay window. Like usually, we're running Death's Echo, you pretty much always do that. And in that scenario, you will generally have access to 2 Death and Decay windows in a pool. Obviously, the first one is what you use to like do your main cleave, but sometimes the pack lives for a long time, right? I usually do it so that I use my second Death and Decay window with a killing machine proc, right? I don't pop it down straight away. I wait until I get a natural killing machine, and then I pop it down, so I get at least 1 killing machine kind of cleave on it. I think that's the consensus. You can see in this pool I do get quite a lot of PIs, so that's obviously going to inflate my DPS a little bit. So if you feel that's yeah, without it I would have done quite a lot less, maybe 110k, 105k, I don't know. I feel like we need to discuss Frost DK viability, because one of the reasons I make these kind of videos is to showcase, you know, what can a Frost DK do in a somewhat optimal scenario. I will not claim that I play perfectly. I play far from perfectly, but I do my best and I have pretty good gear. So I think it is to some degree a measure of, at least I can compare against Unholy, right? As Unholy in this dungeon, I would do around 140k DPS, right? Which is significantly more. However, I feel like this is Unholy's niche, right? Unholy does really well in big pool dungeons, and you're more likely to do similar DPS as Frost DK in a dungeon that doesn't have this big pool kind of scenario. And if compared to other classes, it depends on how good they are. I will essentially come out just behind the Shadow Priest in this dungeon, right? But I will beat the rogue, which probably, I don't know, not sure if that's low eye level, what's going on there. Like, it's always difficult to compare against other classes because you're not likely to get someone which has similar gear or similar skill in a given run, right? I just do pogging, which is what makes that somewhat difficult for me. Anyway, I would say it. I think Frost DK deserves a buff, right? We don't do that much damage. I feel like we should be doing more damage, right? With my gear and everything, if I compare to Unholy, which I feel like does respectable damage, Frost definitely deals less. Furthermore, generally, we're very reliant on Breath Synagosa in scenarios where we do competitive damage, like in Raid. And in those cases, we need incredibly high uptime. That's one of the reasons Frost doesn't do that well in Mythic Plus. Breath is only really good if you can keep it up for 2 minutes, and that's really difficult to do in a Mythic Plus scenario, right? I think what I would like to see would be like a rework of breaths so that you don't get 2-minute breaths. You know, I think it should be 30 seconds or so maximum, and then some buffing of other parts of the kit so that we become, you know, a little bit better when breath is not up, that kind of vibe. For the Obliteration build, what I would like to see is Unleashed Frenzy uptime increased. I don't think that makes much sense to have it so short. Just an annoying thing to keep up, especially when you get lots of killing machine procs, lots of rhymes, that kind of thing. It would just be much nicer if it was 10 seconds. Anyway, outside of that, I do like playing my Frost DK. Like seeing 250k Oblit crits twice, you know, on a single hit, feels great. It's a very satisfying and fun spec to play, which is what I kind of like to play it sometimes, because I do tend to play what I enjoy. Anyway, enough of that rambling. I think from this point on, I'm just going to do commentary on my gameplay. We're going to discuss the cooldowns I use, when I use them, and why I use them, as well as like how I engage every pack. We're currently on the bird boss, as you can see. My plan here is to pop my pillar on pull, and then pop it again when the boss takes increased damage, right? It's going to be around 1 minute, that's the general vibe. So it's going to be quite perfect for me there. You can see I have Grief Torch ready and Puzzle Box in roughly a minute. So it's going to be timing quite well. I'm going to use Puzzle Box somewhat close to pull. And then I can use, I'm going to use Grief Torch on pull, and then I can use Puzzle Box for my cooldowns when it takes more damage, as you can see here. I go into Remorseless Winter, use my Grief Torch, and then I'm going to initiate my pillar window, pressing the button, and then immediately triggering Killing Machine proc. You can see there I got several procs of the tier set in a row. That feels great, as long as you have the runes for it. You just prioritize pressing it, right? You really don't want to generate a Killing Machine on top of one you already have. It's a complete waste. So just be on your feet and react to when you get those. All right, we're gonna wait until we get 3 stacks, essentially. We don't have a choice here. We need to go to 75% before we can actually do something. Essentially before the balls spawn. All right, I did get PI a bit earlier there, but that's fine. We can see there we're gonna start throwing the balls. I'm gonna pre-use my Puzzle Box here, and then we're gonna go into the window. So there we go, Puzzle Box coming in, and then we use all our cooldowns, Empower Rune Whip and so on, and now we're just blasting the boss. You can see there, each hit I do, 250. I got 580k crit on my Frostwind's Fury. Generally, you don't use Frostwind's Fury in your pillar window, but I feel like here, when he takes increased damage, it's worth it. And that is a big crit, I must say. Also, when you do get a crit, obviously it was worth to do it, but one cannot know. Like, I could have just used it, and it would have dealt less than an Obliterate, right? Which makes it not worthwhile. You can see I'm quite terrible at keeping up my Unleashed Frenzy. You know, it is where it is. You can't always keep it up, but at least one should try to do so. I think the end of this fight is going to be a bit messy, if I remember correctly. Healer's going to die. I'm going to have to tank the boss. We'll see. I've got Grief Torch coming up again, so I'm going to use that soon. We need to throw this in so we can actually reset the stacks. I managed to silence myself there. Christ. Anyway, pick up the small orb there. We're going to make sure we're clear. Yeah, that was pretty much my mistakes. As you can see, I was running to the tank, but I should have gone to the healer. Oh well. You can see the tank dies. Right, I'm going to rest him first. I'm going to heal myself up. Come on. There's the rest. I die, but we'll still manage to do it. Pretty much all my mistakes there. Should have just cleared much quicker on the healer, which was just behind me. But alas, I messed up. Alright, we're going to forward a little bit. Alright, we're currently waiting for the healer there. Just going to bring in these packs. Alright, off we go again. Classic opener. I have some cooldowns ready, so I'm going to pop those. I can barrel weapon, and then we do Remorseless Winter, Pillar into Howling Blast, Deafening K, and then we do our Weaving kind of vibe. So you can see I now have my Frostwind's Fury ready, so I'm going to look for an opportunity to use that. I won't find a good one, like you want a big pull, but in this case I won't. We won't be pulling that big. We're going to dodge these Arcane Ravagers. It's bolstering, so skipping them is quite a good idea. They will otherwise quickly grow in health, right? Which is not a good idea. Pack's about to die, but I feel like, you know, I have my cooldowns ready. I might as well use them. Thing is, with Frost DK, cooldowns are so short. If you ever hold them, it's a big waste. So I didn't want to do that. Alright, we've got a semi-big pack here. I'm going to use Puzzle and Frostwind's Fury. I'm going to make sure everything is stacked up with 5 stacks of Razor Eyes first, but it's still not ideal. I would like to have my what's it called? Pillar Frost here. It would do much more damage, but at the same time, I don't want to lose out on casts overall because I'm saving it for too long. All right, pack's gonna die. Next one is gonna be a classic. This is just a single Remorseless Winter pack. So I'm gonna go in there. I'm actually gonna not use my Remorseless Winter immediately. Oh. Well, excuse me, apparently I did. That was a mistake. Remorseless Winter was like 2 seconds off, and I should have waited to use Frost Winter before my pillar window. Right now I wasted a GCD within it, which is a terrible idea. So, you know, not the best play there. Alright, we're going to finish this off. We've got Mystic Blast. Oof, that should have been interrupted biceps. We can do Grip to interrupt that. I think I had both my normal interrupt and Blinding Sleet on cooldown there, unfortunately. Right. Good pack, you know, lives for roughly 45 seconds, which means that I'm going to get all my cooldowns up for the next one, which is kind of like where I want to be. We're going to pull around this middle pack, make sure we don't pull the middle guy. I do, as always, a Power Rune Weapon and more Winter into Pillar and... Oh god. Pillar and triggering my first killing machine. And then I do Deafening K. Oh, Storming, man. I hate it when it interrupts me when I channel my Grief Torch. So annoying. You can see this is a classic example, right? Where I got a natural killing machine and I'm going to leverage that into a Deafening K window. That's the general idea. I don't like using Deafening K if I don't have a killing machine, but if I do get one, might as well pop that down so I get double the damage. Alright. You can see it's going to be the same thing every time. That's a good thing about Obliteration, right? You're pretty much going to have cooldowns of every single pack. Packs live for around 40 seconds. You're going to be reducing that pillar all the time, which is why it works so well. Plan here is we're going to walk around these guys and use Bloodlust on a double pack over here. Unfortunately, that might be a possible game. You know, we've got 30 seconds. We'll see how long it lasts. But I think I actually do use my Frostwind's Fury here. Alright, straight into the cleave. Hate it when I get knocked up, so I can't hit him. Oh well. Right, we have some more cooldowns. We're going to use our puzzle box because I can see I have, you know, I had 10 seconds left. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get it off here. I'm going to spam it and make sure I get it off. There we go. Cool. Even though, you know, Frost Death Knight Obliteration, we scale very well at 2 targets. That's what Obliterate is for, right? But in big pulls, we still do lots of damage. Frost Winter is a huge hitter. Glacial Advance actually becomes really powerful at big target counts. And we have stuff like Frostwind's Fury, which just does giga DPS. Alright, nice. Where I pull Power Rune Weapon here. I use a macro to make sure I actually use my racial here. Just macro to Pillar Frost. Make it easy for myself. Ooh. Need to be... did it again. I managed to time my Grief Torch exactly so that I get interrupted by it. Anyway, pack's about to die. You can see I did drop my Unleashed Frenzy there. I'm terrible at keeping it up, but it's such a nuisance as well. So I'm not a fan of it. But I definitely should be better at it. I might add a glow to my weak aura to remind me, but oh well. I make a silly mistake here. I didn't have my Deafening K up for my pillar window. Should have waited just a couple of seconds. So I did have it up. This means that I missed out some cleaves overall, which is not great. Still, you can see it's very consistent damage. You know, 140k on this pool. It's going to go down a little bit, but that's what you can expect in these, you know, 4 target pools with your cooldowns, which you will have all the time, which is the reason why it's relatively strong in those scenarios. All right. Great, next pack, we've got Motion Limb. We're going to use that before we use our go into pillar window. And then we go for the cleave, you know, Oblit, Howling Blast, Oblit, Glacial Advance, Oblit, Howling Blast, you know. That's the kind of vibe. I think I should note here, obviously I probably should have discussed this earlier, but do be careful with your Pillar of Frost. We have Frost Whelp's Indignation. It's a 40-yard frontal whenever you use Pillar, and you need to be very careful to not ninja pull with it. The general idea is to, whenever you engage a pack, always go to the opposite side of it and face backwards. so that when you do pop your pillar, it is unlikely to hit something that you haven't already attacked. I think that's like the best advice I can give. Right, we can see I need to repair my weapon. I've been hitting too hard with it, with all the big oblit hits. You'll see at the end, right, I will put up my damage breakdown, and it's going to be like 40 almost % obliterate damage. It's between 30 and 40, which is pretty insane. Alright, going into this fight, I do pop my puzzle box like beforehand. Don't want to use that later on because it's just going to mess up my rotation. If I use it after Monsters Winter, I won't be able to empower it very much. If I use it in my pillar window, I'm just going to completely give it myself. And the duration is 20 seconds, so it lasts well into our cooldowns. Like pillar window is only 12 seconds, so it's completely fine to precast it as the first thing you do. Right, we're gonna go for the fight here. We see we have Monsters Winter there. I want to use it before my pillar window, ideally. So I don't need to press it within it. I don't want to do that. And delaying it is also not a good idea. Unfortunately, I was quite unlucky in that pillar window. Didn't get any good procs, which meant that I couldn't fully leverage every killing machine proc. And that's just unfortunate. You can't do that much about it. Like sometimes you're lucky, you get lots of runes back, both from spending a rune power, but also from obliteration itself. You know, every time you press Howling Blast, Glacial Advance, or Frost Strike in your Pillar Frost window, you have a quite high chance of generating a rune just from the talent itself. If you're unlucky, you won't have any runes, and then you're just going to sit there sadly and press something else. Right, you can see there again. I used my what's it called? I completely forgot what I said. Anyway, there we go. I used Monsters Winter before going into Pillar Frost window. I really want to emphasize that you know, use everything else before your pillar window, because your pillar window is sacred and you don't want to use anything at all in it. Still, you will see me. I will quite frequently mess this up. Unfortunately, I wish I was better, but alas. Sometimes you need to delay it for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, just to make sure you line everything up nicely. Alright, got Mana Bomb. I like to use AMS after I get it. You can also use it beforehand to kind of immune it, but in that case, it might have been for nothing. So I don't know, maybe it's better overall to do it, but it's a bit of a tech you can use. Right, I'm at 120k overall, looking good here. We're gonna do relatively big pull of the spinning guys, which we can quite nicely help with Blinding Sleet and Grip and Asphyxiate, that kind of thing. I will have my puzzle box ready, which is good, and then we're gonna probably get a good frost swim here. Just chilling a little bit when the tank pulls. We want to be responsible DPS that don't over aggro immediately. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pull this together, and unfortunately I think it's just gonna be a 3-pack, but that's what it is. Gonna do my puzzle. I probably should have messed that up royally, I can see. Anyway, it's going to be fine in the end, because we're going to use our Frost Swim here just at the end of our pillar. There we go. And we're going to top the damage on this pull. Could have done better. I'm not sure if I got a crit there, but it deals roughly, like in this scenario, every hit is going to do between 200 and 250k. So just multiply that with the number of targets you're hitting, and you can see why it's very, very good in that scenario. And it's because we buff it so heavily. Like the amount of mastery I get from Puzzle Box is just insane. Gonna have some smaller pulls here, unfortunately. We do have the time, so don't want to risk anything. You can AMS these guys. Also, if you tank them on the stairs, I've not done this personally, but if you tanked on the stairs, you can actually complete a dodge it by standing in a different Z level. So like if you stand above them, you won't actually be hit by the spinning thing. Alright, here I'm kind of waiting to get a proc so I can pop my second Deafen K. Seems like I won't get it, so I'm just gonna hold it for the next pack. Alright, that's gonna die nicely. And then we're gonna go for another triple. That's fine though. You will see me often, like if I get a killing machine proc, I consume that before I go into my pillar window. I can't really understand why I haven't. No, there we go. That was a scuffed pull. No idea what I was doing there. Who knows? Sometimes I mess it up. As said in the past, right? Monsters Winter into pillar and Howling Blast, and then you do Deafening K, and then you do your cleave rotation. And who knows what I was thinking there. Sitting there completely hating on my own rotation, but I mess up, so yeah. Maybe this could have been 120k overall. If I was a better player. Anyway, we're going to do last pack of the dungeon. Guys over here, just going to run in, bring those in. I have everything ready here. We got Abomination Limb. They pop that and put Rune Weapon. There we go, trigger our pillar window. There we go. Oof. I do miss one killing machine proc there, I think. Oh. I do miss another one there. Quite a lot of overlapping ones. Sometimes when you've got lots of haste, it's difficult to react to them. But definitely try your best. Might be a good idea to kind of figure out your settings. You can sometimes change, I can't remember what its name, but there is a setting you can change that kind of makes it more reactive to user input. So if you suddenly press something else, even though very close to executing a new button press, it will change that. Right. Final boss, not much to talk about here, right? We're just gonna send our puzzle box after a bit. We have Bloodlust in 10 seconds. I want to wait for that. And we're gonna wait until we get like the pull in to do so. When we watch this fight, here's my damage breakdown, right? You can see Obliterate being really high up there. It's because like such a large portion of our damage comes from the Obliterate cleave, right? That's the whole point of this build. Get those cleaves going. You also have loads and loads of Frostwind Fury damage. And that comes almost primarily from that first big pull, but also from the different times I've been able to leverage my Posser Box Frostwind Fury combo throughout the dungeon. I'm going to have to run a couple of other dungeons to kind of get a feel for it, because I feel like Chill Streak in an average dungeon is going to do 4%, right? So whenever I can pick up Frostwind Fury and do more than that, I will probably do it. Furthermore, Chill Streak doesn't do any damage to bosses generally, right? It doesn't do any single target damage. So I don't know. People in my stream generally doesn't approve of my Chill Streak choice, so I think I'm gonna have to play it a bit more, see what I think about it. All right, boss is dropping. We're getting some nice PIs here as well. Just pumping out some damage. There we go. 170k crits, feels pretty good. As I said before, right? I believe Frost should be buffed, but I also believe people doom call too much, right? If you like the gameplay, right, you think it's fun, it is definitely viable to play when you go 20, 21, 22, so I think. Maybe it won't be the spec that sees plays at 25s, but if you enjoy it, I would definitely recommend playing it. I definitely like it, and I will definitely keep going. Keep playing it, trying to optimize my gameplay, get better, get those juicy two-hander oblits crits. That's my kind of vibe. Anyway, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this video. Upvote, downvote. Do consider subscribing. Let's get to 100k eventually. PM me on the Discord if you have any questions at all. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.